Indigenous crops have been and will remain very significant in the development of Uganda's agricultural sector, as well as a source of livelihood to many of the people. They form a strong food security base because many of them can withstand severe weather changes and can also grow on average soils. They are cheap, easily accessible, and when harvested, many of them have a long shelf life. Indigenous crops are also important for providing a wide range of social, cultural, economic, and medicinal values amongst the different communities. Above all, indigenous crops play a vital role in balancing agricultural biodiversity, providing a wide genetic base for developing new crop varieties. Therefore, indigenous crops are an indispensable pillar in sustainable agricultural development processes. Today, however, the number of people depending upon cultivating and/or preserving the indigenous crops has dropped drastically, sending a wave of fear amongst some sections of the society.
That
they have variety of cassava, like the bailo, kegire, tenze, but these days they are not there.
Participatory Ecological Land Use Management, PELUM in short, a network of non-government organizations that are working with farmers to ensure sustainable agricultural development, are implementing a comprehensive strategy to reverse this worrying trend.
We started promoting indigenous foods in 2008. We were able to mobilize farmers to get those indigenous foods, and then they came together in a big indigenous food fair, which also had competitions. Then from there we also had an Africa-wide symposium which brought together 10 countries, and we had exhibitions of indigenous food. And we discovered a very big documentation gap, so we are doing a lot of documentation.
In that direction, PELUM Uganda partnered with the National Agricultural Research Organization to conduct a survey research to identify and document some of the existing indigenous foods in the various regions of Uganda, and to establish why, despite their immense benefits, communities are discarding them.
Having done this study in the various places of Uganda, the trend is the same everywhere. The utilization of indigenous foods is on the decline for several reasons. One, they are now competing with new technologies, and of course a lot of extension and research efforts are pushing, the newer varieties more. But most importantly, because of the changing trends in people's lifestyle, the younger generation are no longer interested in consuming these indigenous, foods.
And so, PELUM Uganda is networking with like-minded organizations operating in the various parts of the country to support their efforts in revitalizing the use of indigenous knowledge, foods, and trees as one of the strategies to improve people's livelihoods. Community Integrated Development Initiatives, CD, is a national non-government organization operating in the Teso region to, among other things, encourage the farmers to grow their indigenous food crops using the recommended agronomic practices.
We have tried as much as possible to encourage farmers to store their seeds, but we have also encouraged the multiplication and demonstration gardens. And these gardens, after the harvest, each household goes ahead to plant these seeds. For example, this cassava that we gave out, it has multiplied in the households of the members.
Yeah. In the West Nile region, Environmental Alert is promoting important food security crops and medicinal plants.
This is bambara nut in English. In Madi it is called songo. It is eaten both when it is fresh, like the G-nut, boiled. It can also be used in multiple forms. This one can boil and make sauce out of it. You can eat it with kalo, with cassava, with sweet potato. The good thing with it is that the weevils can't attack it. It has a hard seed coat. It is drought resistant, and it had been here over years. But with time, it is becoming thing.
The utilization of indigenous knowledge in day-to-day life, for example, in the preservation of seed is also high on the agenda.
After harvesting, you let it dry. After drying, you have to mix with the traditional leaves we are putting. Cypress and Nima, that one is good. The beetles will never eat the seeds.
In the Busoga region, the Organization for Rural Development, or RUDE, is promoting Mawalampa maize variety, one of the indigenous maize breeds formerly grown in the region. According to the farmers, Mawalampa maize variety should be promoted because even though it takes a little longer than the hybrid varieties to mature, it has superior traits which, if developed with good agronomic practices, can deliver the communities out of poverty.
Yenalima kukulu wa lulimo lulala ayera yaloba duumono ni duumole twamusimbira kulala ayengeri akasana bwe kaya kamu duumono yajja buje yasola era obuduma buyata ku butono sengole ye yakuma kuku akaseera amadi bugagwire yata kuduma ategereke kaye buno buduma butono.
This one is so resistant to drought. When you plant it and it is attacked by sunshine, the maize will always still keep growing as compared to the other one brought in by business people who were in for profit.
In Mbale district, the preservation of bamboo-based staple food called malewa is high on the agenda of Masaba Beekeeping Association. Despite its importance as a food source and raw materials for crafts and furniture, bamboo is threatened by the ever-growing population that has increased the demand for malewa and the other bamboo products. Masaba Beekeeping Association has therefore decided to sensitize people about the need to preserve this plant and is also equipping the members with skills to domesticate the plant and sustainably utilize the resource so that even the future generation will be able to benefit from it. In southwestern Uganda, Sustainable Agriculture Training Network, SATNET in short, is supporting farmers to revive the indigenous food varieties, especially the staples.
In Kienjojo, we looked at maize and cassava, and to small extent, peanuts. Then in Kasese, we are also looking at cassava on a large scale and maize. And then the other areas like Kabarore, we are looking at the bananas.
Prometricganda is one of the non-government organizations in the central region promoting the use of traditional medicine as an alternative approach to ensure good health for Ugandans. Among other strategies, Prometricganda runs a training center where they promote the cultivation and utilization of indigenous food varieties, particularly those which have medicinal value, highly marketable, and with high food security potential.
Cassava, normally we eat it as a tuber, but the leaves are also very, very useful. We use this one as a herb. You eat it in food, you eat it in sauce, when you are having even tea, and you maintain your body so that it is healthy. In Britain, in the hotels, juice made from this fruit, the glass costs you £4. But here, it is in plenty, we don't know its use.
Indeed, making a fortune both as a food resource and an economic enterprise out of the indigenous plants, which many people have neglected. So far, so good. There is every reason to believe that PELUM Uganda's effort to promote indigenous foods will significantly contribute to sustainable agricultural development in the country. However, success in achieving this goal will take a concerted effort.
We need to work with others because with food you need the consumers, you need the farmers, you need the value chain actors, you need so many people to partner with.
Researchers, for example, of whom I represent, to do research, to tame them. And then when you come to the extension workers, to popularize them. Even though we have the new varieties, but let's have them alongside what we have. And then the civil society, to identify those indigenous foods that are under threat and promote them. Teach people how to, use them in a sustainable way.
We also hope to work closely with the government to see how the indigenous food and its important aspects that address agricultural challenges we have today can be integrated in different government programs.